Hello everyone, welcome back to our Accounting 210. In this video, we kind of have a quick review of chapter 10, and then I want to give you my understanding on the variance, that part. Okay, so for chapter 10, I put my note here directly. For chapter 10, we basically, the main idea is how do we evaluate our employee, how do we evaluate the managers, right? We said there are three, my understanding is there are basically three ways, how to say, three perspectives, or what, three ways to measure your employee or the manager's performance. The first way is very straightforward, is you compare that employee with the others, right? So we said we use this for the investment centers. We have some measures. We have ROI, which equals to sales margin, and then time the capital turnover, right? And then we also said we also have something called the residual income. So they both, no matter which one, you need to know their definition, formula, how do you calculate, how do you interpret, and no matter which one, they all focus on money part. And then we said, hey, that's not good enough, because we want to have balanced perspective, right? We want to get money, but we also, hey, how do we measure the customer satisfaction? How do we measure the employee training? How do we measure our production efficiency? So we said just the money is not enough. We have to have a balanced scorecard, right? Balanced scorecard. So why we call it balanced? Because it balances four parts. Financial part, right? How do we get financial? We need to let the customer like us. How do we get customer? We have to have good internal business, right? How do we get that? We need to have people. We need to have the information system. So we have a learning and growth. So we have four perspectives. That is balanced. So we have this financial part. We also have a non-financial part. And then the last method to evaluate the performance is evaluate your actual performance, right? Evaluate your actual with your budget. Evaluate your actual with your budget. So if your actual is doing better, we call it favorable variance. If your actual is doing worse, we call it unfavorable variance. So that's, if you ask me what chapter 10 talking about, it's talking about how do you evaluate the performance, and we have different methods to evaluate. And make sure you read all the other, decentralization, different types of responsible center. I'm not going to read the concept with you. I'll leave that part to yourself, but get the logic of chapter 10 and then organize your notes. Okay, now let's look at there. I made a kind of an example and then show you the variance. This is one of the hard part, but I think it's really important for our managerial accounting part. How do we evaluate? How do you compare your actual with your budget, and how do we break down the big number to small parts so we can figure out, oh, because we got favorable, we got unfavorable, is because of the quantity, because of the unit, or because of the dollar amount. So let's look at this one. Actual is on the left side, and the budget is always on the right side. So kind of my summary is here. Your actual is always on the left side, and then your actual is on the left side, and the budget is on the right. We said every time we just change one item. So if there is a variance, it's definitely from that item, right? If you change so many things, you don't know. Hey, let's say I give you the example for your multiple choice, and then for your problem. If I just say, hey, you overall you got 5 or 10 points favorable, but you don't know it's from the multiple choice or from the problem. So we said, oh, when we look at a problem, we control the multiple choice fixed. When we look at multiple choice, we control the problems fixed. So if there is any variance, oh, it's from which part. If the left hand compared with the right hand have, so our focus is on the operating income, right? So if our actual is better regard for the operating income, then that is favorable. You cannot say larger number is favorable, because if for the cost, then it's unfavorable. Let me know if you are confused with this part. You definitely have to know it's favorable or unfavorable. Okay, so we said for the actual is here, right? Actual is here, and then our master budget is here. We have the actual at the end of the month when we get the real data. We have the budget at the beginning of the month when we kind of had the budget. And in the middle is the flexible budget. We also get the real data. We use the actual outcomes. We use the actual volume. I put A and A. This is actual time actual. Actual what? Actual units time actual price. Okay. Flexible budget is you use actual units, but you use budgeted price. Okay, so we use budgeted price. And the master budget is budgeted units time budgeted price. So your flexible budget is kind of like in the middleman, the hybrid man. So it's actual and the budget. Your actual is actual and actual. Your budget is budget and budget. But your flexible budget is part actual units, and then budgeted price. So why we do this? Why we do this? So if any difference from actual and actual budget, so let's say the variance of these two, so actual minus actual budget, and we can get the actual out, right? So it will be actual minus budget. So if there is any variance, it's not because of the unit, it's because of the price. Because your first variable is always the units. Your second variable is always the price. So if there is any variance, we know, oh, it's because of the price. For the flexible budget and the master budget, actual budget minus budget, and then it will be actual minus budget times the budget. If there is any variance, we know, oh, it's because of different volume. So we call this variance as volume variance, right? We call this variance as volume variance. We call this variance as a flexible budget variance. Flexible budget variance. Okay, I said I kind of got some idea, but I want to look at the number. Go ahead, let's look at the number. Fixed cost, the flexible budget equals to the master budget. Okay, I don't know what's that, but let's look at this example. So this is your textbook example. I think your problem in your textbook. It said this is a flexible budget performance report and then sales and operating income for this year. Okay, so we have the actual always on the left side. We have the master budget on the right. We have the flexible budget in the middle. This difference is called flexible budget variance. This difference is called volume variance. So let's look at the numbers and see how to fill all the missing part, right? If I test you, I may ask you some questions like this. We don't know. Okay, so this is the volume. This is the units. Actual is 5, and we said the flexible budget using what? Flexible budget using actual units. So this question mark is 5, right? And then that will be 0 favorable. We said 0 is favorable because 5 minus 5 is 0. Master budget, you thought you will sell 4, but actually you sold 5. So you have 1 favorable, right? You have 1 favorable. And then let's look, sales revenue, your actual is 102,000, and then it's over 5 units. So your first step is, what is our selling price for each unit, right? So you have to get that first. Put it here. So 102,000 divided by 5. We get our selling price. I just put a note is 2,400, right? 2,400. And then I put a note here is 86,400 divided by 4. 21 to 21,600. So this is 21,600. Okay. So your actual this revenue, how did you get this revenue? I put it here, right? Your actual revenue is units. 5 units time each one is 2,400. This gives you that 102,000, right? It gives you that number. And your budget, your master budget is for your first variable is always the units time 21,600 gives you 86,400 of the total revenue. Okay, so now we can start putting the numbers, right? How do we get this 108,000? They say, hey, they told you, but you can also double check. How do we get flexible budget? Is actual units times budgeted price. So actual units is 5. We time budgeted price is 21,600. If you do the math, give me 1 second. This is magic time, right? 5 times 21,600. God bless me, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, wow, I'm so smart. 108,000, right? So hey, we double check. This is 108,000. Now we can see the variance. The variance of flexible budget is 102,000 minus 108,000. You can see this difference is 6,000. It's unfavorable, right? Unfavorable because your actual revenue is lower than the budget. Your left side is lower than the right side. For revenue, it's unfavorable. And 108 minus 86,400 minus 86,400 got 21,600. So 21,600. This is favorable because your left side is larger than the right side. Your left side is larger than the right side. Now we need to do this, right? For the variable expense, your actual is 50,000 over 5 units, so each one will be 10,000. One will be 10,000. This 52,000 over 5 units, each one will be 52,000 over 5 units. Each one will be 10,400. And this one, you said, why you need to do this? You need to break it down to 2 parts: units time the price, so that we can get the middle part. This is 41,600, but it's over 4 units. So we divide. So this is 10 for, yeah. See, this is the same, right? This is the same because your flexible budget and your master budget, they both use the same price. It's budgeted price, budgeted price. You can see they are 10,400. They are the same. Okay, so now for the variable expense, actually it's 50,000, the budget is 52,000, so you have 2,000, but it's expense, so your actual is lower, right? So this will be favorable. And then 52,000, 41,600, let's see, 52,000 minus 41,600 gives me 10,400, so 10,400. Your left side is larger than right side, but it's expense, so it's unfavorable. And the fixed expense, you can say this will be, I just put 4,100. Your actual is lower than the budget, so it's favorable. And then your flexible budget and master budget, this is 0 favorable. So now, how do you get your actual operating? This asks your total operating expense. Okay, so total operating expense. So you just need to add, right? So this will be 50,000 plus 24 gives you 74,000. 42,000 plus 28,100 gives you 80,100. This gives you 69,700, right? Then you can just do the variance. So this will be actual. I know it's a favorable. So how much favorable? This will be just a minute, just on there with me. 80, 100 minus 74,000. So I have 6,100 favorable. My actual cost is lower than the budget. And then 80, 1,100 minus 6, 9, 700 gives me 10,400. So 10,400 unfavorable. My left side cost is higher than my right side, so it's unfavorable. So I stop here. I think that's all. So the purpose for this practice is let you know your actual is always your actual units time your actual price. Your master budget is budget units time your budgeted price. But flexible budget is in the middle, all right? So it takes the actual units from there. So it's actual units, but it take this half from the master budgeted dollar amount. So actual budgeted. That's the way I memorize. And your first variable is always the units. Your second variable is always the dollar amount. Okay, and then you need to know, hey, what is favorable, what is unfavorable. Okay, let me know if you still have any question. It's really, really, really important. It also helps you to understand the chapter 11. Variance is one main part of our class. I think it's similar with the overhead, so it carries in 3 different chapters. Okay, I'll stop here. Let me know if you have any question. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.